Hello and welcome to Shaking and Sipping. This is the show where we shake up a cocktail or other mixed drink, we sip it, and we talk about it a little bit. We're currently working through the IBA's official list of cocktails. We're in the first section, the Unforgettables, and this week the unforgettable is the Between the Sheets, which I had forgotten. But since it is apparently an unforgettable, we are going to make it today. Now, what is the Between the Sheets? It's a bit of an odd drink as it is a split base drink. We have two base spirits working together or competing. We shall find out. And those are going to be provided by a lighter rum and a cognac. And then it's going to be rounded out with an orange liqueur and some lemon juice. Now, where did the Between the Sheets come from? As usual, there's a little bit of confusion about this, but this one I think we have a decent idea of. Now, first of all, the IBA doesn't give us anything on this one. For this drink and a lot of the drinks coming up, they don't have a history section on the page anymore. I don't know if they too went alphabetically and just got bored at some point or what, but they tell us nothing. So looking other places, we see a couple of possibilities. The thing I've seen most often around credits it to friend of the show, Harry McAlone, and that actually seems somewhat likely. He was said to have made it around 1930-ish. David Wondrich, in his write-up on it, doesn't ascribe it to anyone, but he does say it was an American and it was during Prohibition, so timing's about right. Though David Wondrich's write-up seems to imply that it was actually created in America, and I believe in 1930 Harry would have still been in Paris at Harry's New York bar. But I'm willing to give this one to Harry McAlone, so this is your drink, Harry. Some of the other places it could have come from, Wikipedia, for example, gives two alternatives. One credits it to some other bartender at a bar, and one credits it as a drink that was common with French prostitutes in brothels, given to them as an aperitif before they did their work. There are sites for both of these, but they're both another site that says some sources say it was at this bar or was popular in French brothels, and then it doesn't give any further sources. So I'm not putting a ton of stock in that. I see the brothels connection, obviously, with the title of the drink, the Between the Sheets, but otherwise, I don't see any connection that we can go with there. So let's give this to Harry McAlone, or possibly random unnamed American bartender at around the same time. All right, that's all the history we need to cover. Let's go ahead and start mixing this one up. So first we're going to juice a lemon. We need 20 milliliters, so that's about 2/3 of an ounce of lemon juice. Just about there. I don't have a 2/3 graduation, but we'll get it close. Alright. So, 20 milliliters of lemon juice. And then we need 3 equal pours of our spirits into this drink. So it's going to be quite a potent one. We'll see how this comes out. First, we're going to need our orange. IBA recipe just says triple sec, so that covers quite a range of different liqueur options. For this one, I'm going to go with Pierre Ferrand Dry Curacao. And we need 30 milliliters or 1 ounce of dry Curacao. And then we are going to need our rum. For this, I'm using the Plantation 3-Star in this massive liter bottle because for some reason it was on sale at the liquor store and it was only $1 more than a fifth. So, yes, please. Plantation 3-Star is a great rum. It is a mixture of rums from around the Caribbean. So it's Bajan, Jamaican, and Trinidadian. It's got some funk, it's got some banana to it, but it's not a crazy intense rum. It still mixes very well. Really great rum for this, I think. And then we need our cognac. This is again a 1 ounce, 30 milliliter pour. And we're sticking with the Pierre Ferrand 1840. Let's add that. All right, and that is our drink. Let's get some ice and shake it. Right, we got a big cube and some small cubes. And let's shake. And then we are going to strain that into a preferably chilled coupe. And there is no garnish specified for this one. So here is our IBA spec between the sheets. So that's shockingly mellow, considering that it's mostly spirit and there's full shots each of cognac and plantation. But it's a little bit muddled, so everything is working together to suppress itself a little bit. I get this slight bit of like whiskey burn at the end of the drink, but most of the time it's in my mouth. It's really the lemon I'm tasting. Just a bunch of stuff happening. It's hard to even describe that. Yeah, I don't hate it, but I'm not excited by it. I can't really follow the flavors that are happening in my mouth. I get some lemon and some orange, and then there's just kind of a car crash of other things that occur, none of which are unpleasant, but none of which are discernible or do anything specific. And then it just suddenly ends, and I get this little bit of alcohol, just kind of a flash in the back of my throat. Yeah, I don't think this is for me, but I mean, I'll be able to finish this, but I'm not in love. Editing room Steven here. I did finish it. It got worse. Hard pass. All right, so let's move on to what may be a variant. So there's a drink called the Maiden's Prayer, and in a number of places this is listed as a variant of the Between the Sheets. I'm not entirely sure that it is, and let me give my rationale here. So David Wondrich's write-up on the Maiden's Prayer tells a story about the history of where that name comes from and some other cocktails that shared that name, including one from the turn of the 20th century that was just a mess of a cocktail. It had rum and orgeat, but then champagne and creme de menthe and like 5 other things in it. Just over-the-top mess of a cocktail that we're not going to make. But it seems like that name and cocktails with that name had already been swirling around. And apparently that name, it goes way back. Read David Wondrich's article if you're curious. But the idea of the drink is it's quite sinister. It's a let's say a date enhancing a product that one would try to ply the maiden with in order to affect the outcome of the evening. So that's great. We're all excited about that. And that seems like that name was already bouncing around. And so then the connection with Between the Sheets, we can kind of see how those got linked. But I'm not sure the drink actually is linked because it's not that similar. It's really the only thing it shares with the Between the Sheets is that it has orange liqueur and lemon juice in it, which if that's what we're counting as a variant, everything is a variant of the Between the Sheets. There's lots of things with orange liqueur and lemon juice in them. So either way, let's go ahead and make one. And the big difference here is that instead of this weird split base rum cognac situation, we're going with gin. Now I wanted a nice traditional London dry gin for this. Unfortunately, someone, which was me, put away the Tanqueray last time with about a quarter of an ounce left in the bottle. So I didn't realize that that was empty when I went to the liquor store. So we are going to go ahead and use Ford's Gin today. Let's go ahead and mix up a Maiden's Prayer. So for the Maiden's Prayer, we're going to start out with half an ounce or 15 milliliters of lemon juice. Wow, that exploded. That was fun. That came out exactly half an ounce. And to that, we need to add half an ounce of freshly squeezed orange juice. This is my beloved Kata oranges, so they're not orange, but I really like them. And I'm bad at color grading, so maybe they will be orange in the final version. Okay, we also need half an ounce, 15 milliliter pour of the Cara Cara orange juice, or regular orange juice. And then we need, again, half an ounce, 15 milliliter pour of a triple sec. I'm going for Cointreau in this one. Because we have the orange juice added, I think that is going to take care of any sweetness we need. And Cointreau is going to be a little bit drier than the Curacao. And it's also going to be just a little bit more assertive, which I think is going to stand up to the gin a little better and play in that botanical world. So we are going to try the Curacao there. And then we need our base spirit. In this case, I'm using Ford's Gin. And we want 1.5 ounces, or 45 milliliters, of the Ford's Gin. Let's grab some ice and shake it up. Ice going in. Let's shake. And into a chilled coupe. We're going to strain that. And this is the Maiden's Prayer. So that's a much better drink than the Between the Sheets. It's much fresher. So I taste the fruits, the juices, separately from the spirits happening. So unlike in the Maiden, or the Between the Sheets, right, where it's fruit on top of Car Crash. Here I've got separate fruits breathing, then I've got a little bit of gin botanicals. I'm curious what this is like with a more assertively juniper gin. That actually might overpower it. But yeah, this one, it's still not a terribly complex drink, but the complexity that it does have isn't fighting for space in the drink. It is separate elements working together over the drink rather than competing for one spot in the drink. All right, well, thank you so much for coming along and making the Between the Sheets and the Maiden's Prayer with me today. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll try making one of those, preferably the Maiden's Prayer yourself. Let me know how it comes out, and if you do use a more junipery or otherwise more assertive gin, how that balances in the mix. Please do all the YouTube things, liking, subscribing, commenting, whatnot. And also, please be sure to follow the blog, which this episode will be linked below in the description. Each week we have more description about making the drinks on the blog, as well as the day after the video goes up, we'll have a blog entry about whatever local cocktail bar I went to visit and order this drink without specifiers, see what they gave me, how it was similar or different to what we made here at home. Also, follow me on Twitter at shaking_sipping. That's where you'll always see when there's new blog posts coming, videos coming, other things like that happening. And until next week, cheers.